Hey, hey, check, check, check. Checking in on the Just Be Yogis. How is everybody? Thought I would see what's going on. Is everybody here? Alright, let's see here. Trying to run the flow, trying to run the flow. Alright, let's see. How are all these beautiful people and their beautiful faces, which I don't get to see, but I can imagine them. Oh. Alright, everybody. Home yoga. Let's do some flow. All right, so let's see who's here. Let us see who's here. Yay, I'm seeing a couple of eyeballs. And, all right, let's see. Who's up in his house? Feel free to write a little bit and tell me who's here. No? Nobody? All right, I'm backing it up and saying good morning. So I don't know if many of you guys know, actually I'll back it up. Hi everybody, I'm Belinda and I'm with Just Be Yoga. We're a donation-based yoga community outreach here in Lansing, Michigan, the capital of the state of Michigan. And we've been donation-based for the last 10 years. I have no plans on changing that. So give what's in your heart or in your pocket, as I like to say. I started the I started the home yoga practice live on March 25, so I guess we were about 9 days into our pandemic and a little bit of stay at home here, with the idea of, hey, we're all at home, where many of us are, and certainly are not able to go to a facility for our yoga practice. And so we're not able to be in a class environment. And there are plenty of opportunities for you to be in that class environment on Zoom and on many other platforms with many other yoga instructors. So I just thought, I'm just going to share developing a home yoga practice and what that looks like. And so if I can, I'll share as much as I can with you all. All right, good morning, Joanna and Kayla, good morning. Feel free to take a moment and type in any requests that you have, whether it's about, how do I develop a meditation practice at home? How do I remember yoga poses at home? I'm just trying to think of like some of the common things that people say about, when I'm home, I can't. How do I tune out my family at home? How do I get my animals to stop crawling all over me at home? So feel free, and I'll wait just a few minutes and see if I see any comments with any requests or any inquiries. Also, feel free to share, how this is going for you. Are you developing ways of moving at home and finding it enriching in any way, or is it driving you nuts? So as I keep an eye out here on any folks who are writing anything, I'll invite us to get comfy. So your mat, it could be a blanket, it could be a rug, block. If you don't have a yoga block, maybe a book. You could use a chair, an end table, something that's not wobbly, a strap or a towel or a belt to help you. And I will start in a comfortable seated space. Patty, should legs be straight during half flat back? Ooh, I love that. Well, first of all, there's no should. So it's about you finding a space of comfort in your own body. And we will go over Ardha Uttanasana, and that's the question that Patty had about half flat back. So you're going to see a lot of pictures on the interwebs that show people who are like uber 90-degree angle. And that's all well and good, but all of us are not built to be at 90-degree angles. We're actually kind of curvy and swervy. So all of that is going to depend on what's going on in the backs of your legs, all right? And so bending the knees, I often suggest, is a way to preserve the back. If we start to try to super duper straighten these legs and force them to be in a straight area, the back will be the first area that will start to take that load, and then of course any ripping or tearing in the hamstrings or in the backs of the calves. So good question, and we'll talk about ways that we can start to lengthen that space and how to detect when the body is saying basta, no more, no mas. All right, so we are who we are. That's the way I'm going to see it. Let's find a way of sitting that's comfortable. Now, you could sit on a block. So a lot of times people will offer to sit on a block or a pillow as a way of raising your hips. And that takes the load off of the hips in this cross-legged position. Or you could just sit here. But it raises and helps you be able to sit a little bit more erect, takes less of a load on the hips and the knees, and it might allow for a bit of a cross-legged space and a little bit of open hip, a little more comfortably. You could sit even higher, you could sit lower. You could also have your legs out in front of you. So cross-legged does not a yogi make, okay? So I am not more of a yogi because I'm sitting this way. Sitting this way because my hips are actually asking me, hey, I'd like to sit that way. And I could also sit a little bit more upright. As you'll notice, I'm not in crisscross applesauce here. I have a shin in front of shin here. And that's Sukhasana. A little bit more forgiving on the knees, a little less intense of a bend on the knees or a twist. And still opening the hips in a nice, delicious way. Not quite butterfly. So sit any way you want. You could have your back against the wall. That's a lovely way to have nice support. So this is often a space that's seen for sitting in meditation, helping us find a relaxed way of being in our bodies. If it isn't relaxing, change your position. Asana often is translated as yoga pose, means comfortable seat. So the first space that we're getting into is, am I truly comfortable, or am I forcing myself into a space of agony because of some picture I have in my mind about what my yoga is? So I'm going to start my day with a little bit of quiet. I'm not saying to not have music playing if you would like to have music playing. I prefer no lyrics when I'm in my home practice. Maybe some acoustic tones. And it helps me take the distraction away so that I'm bringing my gaze within myself. Eyes can be open or closed. My jaw is relaxed, tongue lightly touching the roof of the mouth, but the back of my tongue is hanging heavy. Trying to bring softness into my face. And when all else fails, I just bring my attention to my senses. So I'm aware of hearing. I'm aware of seeing. I'm aware of feeling on my skin. Temperature, texture, tension. Touching. I can feel the touching of the back of the calf here with the back of the thigh there. Smelling. I have some incense. I can still smell a little bit of the soap from this morning. Tasting. I tried to get rid of all of that coffee taste, brushing my teeth afterward. Now I just want to notice the tension that's going on in my body, remembering that yoga means to create a connection. So I'm connecting with what's going on. Am I really in a comfortable seat, or am I carrying a tension, a pain? And what is it really telling me about my emotions, my physical state? And then as I begin my practice this morning, I bring my mind and attention into my higher connection, my inner spirit connecting with a higher spirit. My inner spirit wants to hold some intention for other spirits who are suffering and in some sadness in life right now. So you could call it a prayer, you can call it an intention. But there is a Sanskrit saying, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings know happiness and the true causes of happiness. And may all beings be free from suffering and the true causes of suffering. Calling to mind for myself those I know who are dealing with suffering, financial suffering, grief and suffering, illness of body and suffering, whether it's COVID related or not. I have a friend who has severe pain because they need a root canal, and navigating how to get that done right now is creating a lot of suffering, as well as the pain in the tooth. I have a friend who shared that they lost a loved one overnight due to the coronavirus. I have friends who are dealing with how to best serve their children and their family right now for their education and their well-being. I myself have dealt with my own insecurities of how I will care for myself and how I can best serve anyone else. So I'll keep that in my mind and in my heart and feel that. May all beings be free from suffering and the true causes of suffering. May we know truly what it is that's causing us the suffering. Is it that I can't necessarily hug my friends? Or am I just seeking connection, and could I find creative ways? I'm going to bring my hands to my belly and bring awareness to my breath. And so as I breathe in, let my belly expand out. For a real simple abdominal breath, exhaling, feeling the flesh relax in. And sit for a few breaths and notice how that starts to calm my body and my mind, or create agitation. But either way, I'm welcoming myself to become aware and observe that awareness and try not to judge it or react to it. What is my capacity for breath? What is my capacity for letting my tummy and my abdomen go? What's tense in this area of my body? How can I lead it to trust, to relax? And let this breath in. Let the sensation of breath in. And I get to confront any fears or inhibitions there. Body image issues about my belly. Trust issues about trusting my gut. Trust issues about my own strength. And then I'll let my belly go. And there's a lot of ancient yoga texts that really bring a lot of attention into just touching the body. And you'll notice sometimes I'm going to be bringing in elements of Qigong as well as traditional yoga. But there are a lot of Qi practices in China and Tibet that are referred to as yogas. Because yoga means connection. It doesn't mean down dog. It doesn't mean a full wheel, all right? So some of you, as I'm just doing a gentle massage, so feel free to just give yourselves a massage, stimulating. Stimulate the shoulders and the neck as I talk a little bit. It was only about maybe 3 years into me having taken refuge as a Tibetan Buddhist, as a KTC tradition. My Lama had promoted, there was going to be a Tibetan Buddhist yoga session. And I was so excited to go and sign up. I'd been doing power yoga for about 3 years at that point. And showed up there, with my Manduka yoga mat and my towel, had on all my gear. And I showed up and everybody was just looking like they were in our Dharma center, just in regular clothes. And I'm like, what's going on? And it really surprised me and showed me my narrow understanding of yoga. Because we ended up doing breath practices and meditation. And I was like, but I thought it was yoga. Wait a minute. But it wasn't yoga. It was a yoging of connecting in and bringing our attention into that inner landscape of the dynamics of our breath and our bodies. So all of that is to say is that I've had my eyes opened in over many years of practice about how limited our view is about yoga. All right, I'm going to come and bring myself to sitting and clear out some fleshy bits, yet again, feeling my body. And this is just my morning wake up, right? And I love having this connection because it's waking myself up saying, hey body, how are you wearing yesterday? What do we need to let go of from yesterday or all of the weekend? How are you wearing this day? And how do I need to bring my attention into it and pay attention today? And I'm going to work my ankles and my toes. Again, this is an inquiry. So I'm massaging them. My toes are a little chilly. Because it's a little chilly today. Waking that up. And then just waking up those thighs. Feeling the rotation here of the femur in my hip joint. And the thighs and the hips. So just rotating. And then I'm going to let the flesh jiggle. Becoming aware of being a carnal being, a body being, a physical fleshy body, and feeling the flesh on those bones. Good. And just going to lift and open the spine and close. Open and close. Now I'm really feeling, my upper back and neck. My chest, my shoulders. Gave my body a day off yesterday. And I was just feeling a little stiff, kind of laying around a lot yesterday. And then I'll work a twist. So I just kind of woke some things up, stimulated a few things. Definitely did the spine, feeling some undulation of my spine, and now a bit of some twisting of my spine. I just had a few vertebrae, give a few clicks here. And now I'm just going to pay attention to my neck. I notice that I don't give enough attention to my neck and my throat in a nice, kind, inquiring way, turning back and forth. Maybe recalling, I wanted to remember Loka Samasta, Sukhino Bhavantu. May I know happiness and the true causes of happiness. May I know and be free from suffering and the true causes of suffering. So now I'm going to bend the knees a little bit. This goes a little bit to what Patty was asking about, because what I'm doing right here with my spine this erect and my legs out in front of me, my body's in the same shape as half flat back. or Ardha Uttanasana. I just have a different orientation to gravity, all right? So more weight is on these legs because my bottom body is rooted down and lifting up, but I'm going to give a little space underneath of these knees so that I'm not super duper stretching my hamstring yet and asking the back part of the fold to just wake up a little bit. And so with that, I'm going to come forward and let my upper body go. And remember the abdominal breathing. And feel my skin and my flesh. Let my head go. And then just really bring my gaze within and observe what's going on in my mind. My mind is a little impatient this morning. Wondering what's coming next. What else do I have to do today? Who didn't I answer in an email? I want to look responsible. And then I roll it up. And I sit and I go, oh yeah, okay, now I got to some real nuggets inside of what's going on in my head. I'm worried that I don't look responsible. What's that about? Wake up my legs a little. I'm going to bring the legs in a little bit more and sit upright. And now I feel my legs, feel my spine. We're in what's called Dandasana or staff. Remember, this is the same as Ardha Uttanasana in a seated space. And now I'm going to come forward. Now, it doesn't feel the same sitting in Dandasana or staff as it does standing in Ardha Uttanasana. Because the legs have to do the supporting of us when we're in the half flat back. Here our butt gets to be the support of us. And as we come forward, we feel the backs of those legs. Now I get to come back into my mind. I'm going to make an adjustment in my body so my body is screaming less, so that then I can bring my attention into my mind. If all I do is spend all of my attention fine-tuning and tweaking in my body, I start to use the body as a distraction in my yoga, where I'm never, ever, ever stepping in to my mind. I'm never opening that doorknob and having the big reveal to step inside and say, hey, brain, let's take a look at your thoughts. And then come on upright. And then I get to be honest about, you know what, I don't want to go in there. I don't want to get that deep with my yoga. All right, we can have some skin deep yoga, but after a while, it will become a little shallow, right? Because there's only so much that we can really start to explore on our ligaments and our tendons. I'm going to come now to my hands and knees, just changing my orientation from sitting to now coming to knees, as well as letting my gaze come downward. All right, bringing my awareness into looking down at the earth instead of having my head above, head up in the clouds. And I'm just going to shift side to side, and I'll get to feel my body weight and feel how my arms are holding me, feeling how my knees are holding me. Now you could say, hey, Belinda, I just thought you said we were going to bring our attention into our mind. Yeah, but when I change my position, I come back into my body. Notice how I'm carrying myself so that I can know what's true. Am I in equilibrium or was I in a hurry to get somewhere else? Is my spine talking to me? I'm going to now have a few cat and cows. Feeling the range in the vertebra on a bones level. Feeling the range in my muscles, feeling the range in my skin. Then I get to say, okay, core, hey, belly, what are you doing? Are you holding me up or am I asking my back to do it all? I'm going to reach one leg back and push the toes down and just wake up the calves. Whoa, that feels a lot different than when we were sitting and folding forward over those legs. And I'm noticing here, oh yeah, I'm super pushing here as though I wanted to go for a burn. Yep, I'm not still in basketball camp. Nope, I'm not still in rugby. So I'm going to ease off and treat my body like it's the house that I want to live in. And then I'm going to release and I'm going to reach it back. So some of you have been around me long enough know that I really don't like the thought that yoga is in the fitness industry. I'm not here to make my body perform better. I'm here to make it a fit house for my spirit in a balanced way because it's carrying my spirit. And then some people run for the hills when they hear that because they go, oh, I always knew yoga was a cult. And then we'll bring that leg in and come up to standing on our knees. And all I'm doing here is now saying, oh, let's feel, what am I feeling differently in my back and my hips, all right? And I really feel like the older I get, the more I feel the impact of gravity and all of my impactful action in my hips and my low back. Y'all should see me when I wake up. It's not pretty. So it takes me a while to get lubricated and up and moving. We can bring our hands maybe to your hamstrings, maybe to your low back. All right. Now, if I had more prodigious booty, I really wouldn't be able to bring those hands here very well. All right. But I am lacking in the booty department. Thank you to my Asian genetics. So I can have my hands here. Some of us would just prefer to have our hands in our low back for support. Now, notice here, I'm going to come back. A lot of times, this is where we are, and we actually feel as though we are erect, okay? So I'm going to try to find a way to lift up and have myself as even as I can here. All right, and then start to notice. I'm not going to go into a back bend. I'm just going to breathe here and go back to that abdominal breathing. See if I can let my belly expand here and feel the small muscles in my pelvic floor. Say good morning to my body. I'm still checking in on how it is wearing the residue of yesterday. Is it ready to carry me today? Am I listening to what my body is saying that it needs so that it can carry me best today? Maybe I want to stay here, which actually I do. I'm feeling my ribs now. At first I felt it way down into my low abdomen, but I'm feeling a little bit of space, a little bit of lengthening slowly happen. Can I be patient? Feeling the belly and feeling the breath, looking at my mind now. Patience. Oh, my life journey to walk through and learn patience. Now maybe I can lift my chest a little higher and send the hips forward a bit. Chest up, so making it a heart lift. More than a back bend. Subtle. So subtle in my groin and my low back. Seeing if I can play with that upward lifting from the lowest part of my spine. Making space in small ways that nobody sees. Small spaces of grace that nobody sees. How am I inviting that in my body so I can invite that into my actions? And maybe that'll show up the next time I'm in line and I want somebody to back up and give me space. You're crowding in on my 6 feet. Maybe I need 10. And can I do it in a subtle way? And then bring myself up and I'm going to sink back to child's pose. Because even that little bit, feeling that in my back. A little bit of space, knees wide or your inner thighs together. So wide helps open up the low back, bringing my upper body forward. Feel free to use a pillow or a block to place your head down. So depending on the size of our thighs and our bellies, we may not really bend really far forward and that smoosh feeling doesn't feel that great. So you can always use a prop so that your head can rest and you can let your hips sink to the best of their ability. Filling up yet again with breath. Is there room for my spirit in this posture? How do I make more room? Maybe I want to reach my chest forward and stretch it out, and I can breathe and expand my lungs, both sides of my lungs. Make space for my spirit. And then I'm going to come on up to standing on my hands and knees again. If your wrists are sensitive, and plenty of us have wrist issues, feeling free to rest on the knuckles of my fists. And I'm just going to work my hips now. I haven't really brought a lot of heat in my practice, so I'm just going to heat myself up a little bit while working my hips, feeling my range. Our hips are one of the most vital joint areas of the body for our circulation, our range of movement, for elimination so that we can poop and pee. That means making our bodies less toxic, changing direction, breath. Can I relax my belly in my breath? While I do this, am I starting to feel my core a little? I am. Do I like that feeling, or is it starting to feel like a lot of work? Am I afraid of working? Am I at ease? And I'm going to bring that down. Come up to standing on the knees. I'm going to step my right foot forward and bring my hands onto my thigh and sit up. Maybe a bit of a back bend. Feel the stretch in the front of this hip. This is a great modification of Warrior One. Still got to work with balance. And then notice my inner landscape. When I'm talking about that inner landscape, I'm talking about fine muscle actions inside of the body, or what my organs are doing. What are my insides doing? And then that leads me into the insides of my mind. Even if I notice my mind and how often it goes to what should this be, or what should I be feeling, or what is this supposed to be, right? If I notice that feeling, notice that thought. And then I'll bring this leg back, and I'll bring those hands down. I'm going to do the other side. Remember, I was just trying to find some heat as well as working in my hips. Noticing how my body is carrying its weight. Not counting reps, okay? So if we're saying, what is the distinction? What the heck is she talking about in terms of fitness versus this yoking, this yogic connection? Change direction if you're doing it, just trying to create balance. Looking at, my weight distribution, whether I'm being in balance, looking at my motivations for what I am doing, that's the yoking. And then looking at, am I at peace while I'm doing this? Or is vanity driving this? Breath. And it's a practice, not a perfect. And bring the knee down. I'm going to bring myself up. Feel a little bit of heat generating. All right. Feeling the vibrancy of life. I'm going to just shake these arms, take some stress out. Remember, this is a home yoga practice. If we can't let it all out, let it all hang out at home, y'all. Where can we? I can understand if you don't want to make weird sounds in a yoga studio, but let out whatever sound wants to belt out of you at home. Move that energy. We'll take this other foot up. Now, notice that I stepped it up. I wanted to see if my core and my equilibrium can bring that up. If your knees don't want to do that, you could always just bring that foot up. Give yourself the support you need. Choose how you're doing what you're doing, and then come up. I like to say, how we get there matters. Don't let your yogic practice be about the end pose. and how we got it, we kind of stomped and crashed our way to get there. How yogic would that be, right? So we want to place our body in a gentle, loving manner. Now I'm going to feel this hip. It's already saying, slow down, Belinda. This hip is a little tighter on this side. I'm going to bring my hands high up toward the hip to give me leverage, to lift my chest, and maybe start to aim the chest up to the ceiling. And go back to feeling my connection with my balance, my feet, my calves, my hips. What's going on? What's fighting? And maybe that inner landscape starts to get quiet enough to let me think about or feel, what really am I fighting? What have I not let myself feel or trust lately? And could I, right here on this mat, let this be my practice ground? I can be as sloppy as I want here. I can paint outside of the lines here. And then I'll bring my chest up. Ooh, feeling that. I'm going to step this leg back. And now I'm feeling like I definitely want to come off my knees now. So I want to go to a down dog. If you don't want to go to a down dog, you can go straight up to standing, because I'm going to go from the down dog up to standing. So I'm going to spread my fingers wide, middle finger facing the front of the room. I like to pay attention to how much weight bearing all of the digits are carrying, not just the heels of my palms. My support, investing in my awareness of how I support myself, where I draw that support from. Is it possible for my ring finger to give me more support? Is it silly for me to ask that of my ring finger? I don't think so. And then we can alternate pedaling those heels as you lift the butt up. We all need to slide into this first down dog in our own way. And don't be afraid to make it yours. Right? My hips, my calves, my ankles, my shoulders all have a relationship to this change of orientation to gravity. And then this lets me check in with the weight of my head, because this is now the most freestanding my head has been. I don't have to hold it anymore. And if I don't have to hold it, are the muscles still trying to hold it? Tilting my tailbone up and down, so a little baby cat and cows here. Oh, I think this is scrumptious. Others of us might be like, oh my God, that is killing me. Now, you could always keep your knees bent here. I'm just going to add that into that, Patty. I find it really beneficial to keep the knees bent sometimes and then just tilt the butt up. And it really helps you isolate, feeling what's going on in your spinal column and the muscles in the spine. And it lets the legs have a break. Oftentimes in certain postures in yoga, we're overdoing in the legs and not asking what our back and our torso could do. Balance, balance, balance. All right, I'm going to make my way up to the top of my mat. I'm going to bring one knee down first and bring that leg up. Some of you might want to just take 2 giant steps up. Your choice, your prerogative. Spreading my toes. I'm just going to shift my weight back and forth. Let my upper body hang. My knees now, I'm going to soften and really let the weight hang from my upper body. Jaw is soft and relaxed. And go back to that abdominal breathing. Now we're fully compressed here. So let that abdominal breathing, let the tummy expand against the thighs, massaging the contents of your abdomen, of your organs. Let the breath and the folding help you massage and move and process the contents of your organs. Bringing that mindful awareness that we are living in an organic structure. And we'll slowly roll the spine up to standing. Hang out down there as long as you like. Arriving for the first time in our mountain. Rolling the shoulders maybe a bit. I was carrying a lot of gear yesterday, so I'm feeling the shoulders. So I want to bring some ease to it, or at least feel out, hey, you're still talking. Okay, I can hear you, thank you. Working my neck. Noticing if I'm locking my knees back here, which I was, so I'm gonna soften that space. I'm gonna check in, how is my pelvic bowl carrying me today? And then finding even space. And I like to close my eyes and stand in my mountain for a few breaths. Being aware of standing as an upright being. Being in the intention of just standing. And noticing what is going on. Could I soften some muscle sets and find that I'm still standing? Okay. I'm going to lengthen my arms upward. Breathing in, shoulders down, and I'm going to feel this space. Intending the entire surface of the soles of my feet to root. Ooh, and I notice how solid that makes the rest of my body feel. So, wow, when I put intention into my ground, look at how solid it lets the rest of my body feel. I'm going to do a few pelvic tilts here, and then find that stable point and try to grow tall from my belly button. Asking my shoulders to ground me. Don't let my energy fly up and let me get uprooted. Breath. Now I don't need a ton of tension in these arms, so I started to notice, wow, I was really straining in those arms. Breath, root, ease. Finding strength while finding ease. Breath in, lift the chest, hips forward a bit. Exhale, forward fold. I'm going to let my upper body go. I'm going to soften those knees now and let the upper body go. Now, if you want to keep those knees soft and you're really enjoying a nice, yummy, kind, soft space in your body, do that. If you're saying, you know what, I really feel like I need to feel a little bit more expansion, a little bit more length, try to straighten the legs, but don't lock the knees backwards. We've got to feel out that balance. Some of us don't know that difference. So in order to find it, sometimes you really do need to like lock it back and go, yep, that's locked, and then back off the hair. And then let that upper body go. And this is Uttanasana. Letting that upper body be inactive and the bottom body be active. Back to that abdominal breath. And I get to confront in my mind's eye what's so hard about letting that upper body be inactive. Could I feel each vertebra in my upper back hang like an accordion? Can I apply some muscle action to my legs? All right, now some of you might want to have a block now out in front of you, and that's just so that when we start to practice a little bit of the half flat back space, just because I saw Patty ask that, you could have your hands at a block. If you feel like you don't need it and you want to bring your hands maybe to the shins, you'll notice that in my practice of my half flat back, I bring my hands out and I rest on my fingertips, trying to extend that spine as best I can. But that's not for everybody. So some of you might want your arms for support here, and it's perfectly legit to have your hands at support here, trying to find that nice flat shelf, okay? So let's go ahead and find, I'm going to use the block as a demo space, find our half flat, and I'm going to bend those knees. While you're at home too, you might want to start to get accustomed to either setting up a mirror so that you can see yourself, or God forbid a camera, but maybe you don't hit record, you just have the camera on and you can see. But we can pull that chest. I've got these knees soft, And I'm trying to get my chest over my thumbs so that I'm extending. Notice how I'm thrusting the chest forward, pulling the shoulders back. Now, the amplified stretch is going to be at the top of this hamstring and in a bit of the low back, actually the whole spine, lengthening forward. Now I'm going to give a lot of give into those knees and pull the chest forward, and I really just feel it in the back and the core. Oh, but I've really gotten to give a break on those hamstrings. And I can stay here and say, I'm going to extend and I'm going to bend, but keep the energy in the spine. And I'm going to straighten and I'm going to bend. So feel that out. All right, we're going to breathe in, pull the chest up. I'm going to keep the knees bent. Exhale, let the upper body go. Half flat, let the breath inflate the spine. Exhale, allow the upper body to release. And I'm going to roll my spine up to standing. Now remember what I said about how we get there matters. And we're going to step the left leg back, but don't just stomp it back, don't just flail your body. Maybe some of you want to be cautious and tentative and start to step that leg back. Others of you may want to say, you know what, I want to feel the containment of how rooted I am to open that hip, reaching back and placing myself down. And we'll find an open hip space. It's a wonderful practice to just do that now and again, saying, you know what, I need that practice of feeling and placing, or I'm going to work on that. My carriage in the world, in my body. All right, so I'm going to feel my hips. They're already saying, oh, scooping tailbone under and back. Now don't get too cray-cray with this scooping of the tailbone under. Some of us are eliminating so much curvature in that lumbar that we're creating or exacerbating more problems in our low back. The low back is the most curved section of our spine for a reason, all right? It takes load, it springs. That's what it's supposed to do, okay? It's not supposed to be flat. I'm going to turn my chest and turn my chest. And already, if you're going, hey, I don't want to see that in a yoga book. No, I'm moving in my body. That's all I'm doing. You're allowed. Straighten hips. Now feeling, just waking it up. I'm going to lengthen and feel this body there. Went a little pop. I'm going to let this hand rest. Maybe it's on a block. Maybe bring a chair here. And turn my chest open. Lengthening my spine, feeling my spine and my torso hold itself, feeling my legs hold itself. Maybe I want to check in on whether it feels like it can support me. And maybe some of you are like, yeah, I'm keeping my hands right where they are. This isn't a challenge. I'm not issuing a yoga challenge. For me, it's like, I want to see, yeah. Okay, we're awake. My obliques, my serratus, my rectus abdominis, those core muscles, they're supporting me. Thank you. And I'm going to bend and find a side angle. And for me this morning, I want this hand down here. Some of you may prefer to have that elbow on the knee, hips forward, sinking, breathing, maybe massaging. And then I'm just going to bring the hands down, and I'm going to step this back leg up. Half flat back, spread the toes, no tension in my body, making space for my spirit. Make space for your spirit. Exhale, let it go. And bringing ourselves upright. Now I'm just going to come to the back of my mat so that I can just change sides, but you still can see. And I'm going to step now the right leg back. So I'm going to make the choice for that big, long, open, slow space, being aware of this left leg holding me. and allowing myself to come open on this side. Just feeling, how's that left side carrying me today? I might really need you a little later. And if it feels like you saw some elements of some Tai Chi, yes, Tai Chi greatly influences how I move in my body because I've been a Tai Chi player for years. All right, so we're going to sink here, feel the hips, feel my pelvis. When I'm ready, I'm going to feel that out. I'm going to straighten that leg and say hi to these hips here. And then I'm going to reach. I'm going to find triangle on this side. Driving down into that back leg. I started to feel that this side is feeling a little tense, a little tighter. Massaging anything that's talking. Just kind of saying, hey, how you doing? I don't imagine many of us have been able to have a massage lately unless you're lucky enough to be partnered with a massage therapist. And if they're still giving it away. Breath. Feeling how my bones are holding me, how my flesh is holding me. Is my mind driving my body right now? Or can I just bring my awareness into that inner landscape and find some ease? What's the expression of my spirit I want to shine out of me when my body is in this shape, when life contorts me in this way? Do I give up on being who I am, who I want to be, my highest being? Or can I find a way of still letting that shine? And I'm going to plug in and say, I'm going to see if I can let it shine. Actually, my highest being gets a little more angry, a little more forceful when I'm a little unsupported. So I'm going to give myself a little support today. I don't want to feel that angry me. And I'm going to bend this knee and find my side angle. Ooh. Breath. Now, sometimes you're going to notice, even in my display of my practice, I might not do the same form of my side angle from side to side or triangle from side to side. And that's because this side might be saying, Linda, I want you to chill out on this side. Or, you know what? You really need to apply yourself right now. And that's me exploring where I am. I'm just going to straighten this leg and walk it around the center for a Prasarita Padottanasana. So I'm going to bring the feet parallel. So a wide-legged standing forward fold, Prasarita Padottanasana. And let that upper body come down. So we're getting all of the benefits of this inversion because, guess what? We are inverted. Our head is beneath our heart. I'm going to switch this around here. And I can see y'all. And maybe walk the hands through. Now, I said maybe. Some of you might really prefer to have those hands down out in front of you to save you from falling. Others of you, if you want to start to walk those hands through, you could bend the knees a bit. And feel that in the low back. Inversions help us confront surrender, acceptance, and let some space in the spine. Noticing how we feel when we let new space into our bodies. Discover what's possible. And then what do we do with that new space when we wear it in our minds? And I'll bring myself down onto my back, onto my butt. All right, so I'm going to encourage that if you have a sofa cushion, rolled up blanket, maybe a stack of rolled up blankets, something nice and squishy. As you can tell, I'm kind of cheating. I'm not showing you guys home yoga practice at my home. I'm showing it at my studio home. But I'm going to bring my pillow, dog hair, up against my hips. And I'm going to lift my hips up onto the pillow and lay my back down I'm going to straighten my legs. So I'm going to have a nice supported, easy bridge space, an opening hip space. Starting to calm my energy, but still lengthen in my body. Still asking for some spaciousness. Checking my face, relaxing those muscles. Start to feel the physical body slowly release and trust. Starting to feel my breath body release and trust and expand into its fullest being in this moment. That's what trust lets us do. My mental body, yes, my mental body. It probably needs the most rest out of all of the manifestations of me. And then feel my intuitive body. Check in on how much time have I spent with it lately? Have I been ignoring my intuition, that inner voice? Can I listen now? And arrive at my inner quietude, my inner bliss, as a body unto itself. And feel it trying to glow from the inside out, permeating, letting that peace and that bliss permeate my intuition. That peace and that bliss permeate my mind. That peaceful, blissful space, let it shine through my breath in every expression of my breath. That peace and that bliss residing and shining out of my physical body. Breathing in and out all of the layers of me, always shining that peace and that bliss in a balanced way in my body and my breath and my mind and my wisdom. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings know happiness and the true causes of happiness, serenity and peace. And may all beings be free from suffering, distraction, insanity, and know the true causes of that suffering, the true causes of that distraction. I can stretch and yawn if you like. Opening my legs wide, feeling my hips here. Whew. I want to make sure I spend a moment with my legs absolutely together, noticing what I feel differently in my hips and my thighs here. I'm going to bring myself upright. Coming to a seated space. And before closing, recognizing that I am practicing all 8 limbs of yoga. I like to recite to myself all 8 limbs and check in. So the first limb is how I treat the world around me, how I'm treating and walking in the world, ahimsa, non-harming, non-violence, in my actions, my words, and intentions. Asteya, not stealing, not robbing myself of an opportunity, not robbing others, not taking what is not mine, not robbing someone the opportunity of learning their own lessons. Truthfulness and authenticity. Restraint or celibacy, abstaining from something, because that abstinence lets me look at what I crave, teaching me to be less reactive. Aparigraha, non-hoarding. And then my niyamas, how I treat myself and my soul and my spirit on this path. Saucha, purity in what I put inside of my body physically, nourishing my body and my mind. And am I practicing cleansing practices, purification practices for my body and my breath and my mind? Paying attention to the content that I feed my mind. And is it wholesome? I know I've had to look at that lately and say, oop, indulging a little too much in this crap. And you fill in the blank on what you consider crap is. Tapas, discipline, devotion and dedication. How do I wear that? What areas of my life could I start to shore that up? Yep, I'm not really applying dedication and devotion. Santosha, contentment. Svadhyaya, self-study and the study of sacred text and wise writings. And Ishvara Pranidhana, surrendering to something greater than myself. I've been really enjoying lying out in a field and staring up at the sky and surrendering to the heavens. Those are the first 2 limbs of yoga, and then my asana, how I treat this body, how I move in this body, knowing what it's possible, what it's capable of. My breath, my senses, pratyahara, where have I been in my senses of late? Have I overindulged? Have I given them attention, stimulation, and intention? So I did pratyahara, sorry. Dharana, single-minded focus. Where have I applied my focus? Where have I said on the focus? Meditation, allowing myself to stay in that focus regardless of the distractions. And letting what needs to be revealed be revealed. And then samadhi, unification, that binding together of all of those. All that is love and light in me recognizes and salutes all that is love and light in you. Embracing that Sanskrit, that greeting, salutation, helps remind us that we're all connected. That it is an illusion that we are separate. That we are light and that we are all coming from the same light, and we will return to that same light. And if we remember our connection and act in that way, we'll be whole and balanced in our being. So, thank you for letting me share practice of yoga with you. Please feel free to write any kind of other questions that you may have. Today, that's where I felt that my practice would be. There are other days that the practice might be a little bit more vigorous, might be a little bit more fiery. Please hit replay and check some of the others if there's some spaces that you feel like, hey, I really wanted something else. Or use what we've done here to help you stay, roll out your mat, and go and find and inquire of yourself. Do I need a little bit more fire? Do I want more twists? Do I want to learn new postures? Do I need to sit in quietude? So much opportunity for practice. Thank you all so much. Check us out on YouTube and SoundCloud. And if you wish to donate, go to PayPal. Thanks so much. Namaste.